The world has to decide who to believe. Do we believe the Hamas spokesperson who said that rape is forbidden, therefore it couldn't have possibly happened on October 7th? Or do we believe the women whose bodies tell us how they spent the last minutes of their lives?
And joining me now is NBC's senior producer in the investigations unit, Anna Schechter, the co-author of the NBC article, and Colin Clark, director of policy and research at the Soufan Group, and former senior CIA officer Mark Polymeropoulos, the former chief of operations in Europe and Eurasia for the CIA. Anna, you wrote the article. You and I have both watched the video that was compiled from October 7th. That the Israelis had put together. It was very clear from watching that what had happened to those women.
Yes, there were multiple images of women who were bleeding, their pants bloodied, images of women who were naked from the waist down, even a photo that I reviewed of a girl naked from the waist down, another image of two women found in a kibbutz, their hands tied, naked on a bed. And this is what the first responders found. What there is quite few of are eyewitness testimonies, but I have reviewed a video testimonial of a woman who played dead at the Nova Festival and watched as a woman was raped by multiple Hamas militants before she was shot in the head.
And it seemed to me from watching the video, from what we've heard from people who were first responders, is that likely these women were raped and then killed.
Yes.
Mark, let's listen to what State Department spokesperson Matt Miller had to say about this yesterday.
We've obviously seen the reports that Hamas has committed sexual violence. They've committed rape. We have no reason at all to doubt those reports. When you look at all of the atrocities that Hamas carried out on October 7th and the atrocities that they have carried out since, the fact that they continue to hold women hostages, the fact that they continue to hold children hostages, the fact that it seems one of the reasons they don't want to turn women over that they've been holding hostage, and the reason this pause fell apart, is they don't want those women to be able to talk about what happened to them during their time in custody.
Mark, they don't have evidence of that, of the fact that they're holding women hostages because they don't want them to tell about these atrocities. But from your experience as an analyst and a CIA officer, it's very likely.
Well, Andrea, this is something that I think we talked about in the show several weeks ago, that when the hostages come out, there was likely to be some pretty brutal tales of what occurred. And now, of course, you know, we're hearing the accounts what the Israelis presented at the UN yesterday. I think that makes some sense that Hamas would not want to release some of these hostages. After all, if you recall, when David Barnea, the head of Mossad, was in Doha, you know, he and the Israeli delegation left because it was clear that Hamas did not want to release the women and children. But there's one point on this that I think is really important. You know, these are barbaric tales, but I think this is going to resonate inside Israel, and that has to do with two things in conflict and war that are important. That has to do with, you know, a sense of resolve and a will to fight. And the Israeli forces, 300,000 of whom are deployed now, you know, certainly have a clear understanding of what they're up against. And so I think this is going to really steel and harden Israeli resolve. And, you know, when there's talk in the international community of cessation of hostilities, you know, that is not even, you know, in the thinking of Israeli officials, or frankly, in American officials as well, because ultimately Hamas has to be degraded to the point where they can't carry out such an attack like this again.
And sexual violence like this is a war crime. So, Colin, what can be done to hold people accountable?
Well, you're absolutely right, Andrea. It is a war crime, sexual and gender-based violence. We've seen this before by the Islamic State, Boko Haram, and other terrorist groups. There needs to be accountability. There needs to be a thorough investigation to establish that there is rule of law. These are among the most egregious acts that can occur in wartime, really at any time. And this is a deliberate action to it's not only the physical act, it's the psychological impact as well, which is a big part of terrorism.
And Anna, the Secretary Blinken has just announced a new policy. They'll have more details coming up in the briefing today. But this is a new policy to place visa restrictions on extremist settlers in the West Bank. who, according to the State Department, are, quote, undermining peace, security, and stability there. So this will stop them from going back and forth from the West Bank, to the U.S.
Yeah, well, even in Israel, the settler issue is very divisive, and a lot of Israelis are really upset that settlers are stirring that pot, making it more difficult for them to tell their story from October 7th. So I think what the U.S. is trying to do is put to tamp down on this very extreme group of Israelis that are making it difficult for the rest of Israeli society.